Okay, here's a thought. What if you could do just one thing, one single thing, and have everything else in your life just fall into place? It sounds almost too good to be true, right? Well, that's the powerful promise at the very heart of a devotional called The Kingdom's Rewards and Priorities. So let's unpack this formula for life and see what it's really all about. Right out of the gate, the devotional hits you with this stunning claim, what it calls the jackpot of life. Just pause and think about that for a second. One single, wholehearted action. And in exchange for that, God effortlessly handles everything else for you. I mean, that's a pretty radical idea, and it immediately makes you ask, yeah, exactly. That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? If one action truly unlocks everything else in your life, what is that one thing? That is the core puzzle that this entire text is built to solve. So to really get our heads around this jackpot of life, we have to look at the core promise itself. At its heart, it's all about a radical exchange, your total, singular focus in return for God's total provision. And there it is. That one thing is all about prioritizing God's kingdom. The devotional basically lays this out as a kind of divine agreement. You focus all your energy on the kingdom's interests, and in return, all your other needs, and get this, it's not just spiritual needs. The text is very clear that this also covers your material needs, are completely taken care of. But you might be wondering, where does an idea this bold even come from? Well, this isn't just some new modern concept. The devotional grounds this entire promise in a core theological idea that it calls the seek first principle. The whole argument really hangs on this one single verse from the book of Matthew. This is it. This is the scriptural command that the devotional's entire framework is built on, and the instruction is so specific. You have to seek the kingdom first. It's only then that everything else follows. According to this text, that order is absolutely critical. So what does seeking the kingdom actually look like in your day-to-day life? Well, according to this devotional, it's about a fundamental shift in what you value most. It means you consciously, deliberately put God's interests and the promise of eternal rewards way above any other worldly ambition you might have. The devotional really frames this as a stark choice, a fork in the road between two very different kinds of rewards. On one side, you've got the eternal stuff, permanent, spiritual blessings that are supposed to be the main focus. And on the other side, the temporary, fleeting, worldly pleasures that are seen as just a distraction. It's presented as a really clear either-or decision. Okay, so we have the big promise and we have the principle behind it, but how do you actually apply this to your life, right? Well, the next part of the devotional is basically a how-to guide. It's a direct call to action. The application is broken down into 3 really clear actions. First, you prioritize. You make a conscious decision starting today to put the kingdom first. Second, you trust. You have to actively believe that your needs are going to be met as a result of that decision. And third, you invest. You direct your time, your energy, your resources toward things that have eternal value, not temporary value. It's a very practical framework. And to help really solidify this commitment, the devotional even provides a specific prayer. It's offered up as a tool, something to help people formally adopt this new mindset and keep that focus locked on an eternal perspective. But this isn't all just about individual action. The devotional then pivots, shifting focus to collective effort and encouraging people to join a larger organized mission. The organization behind all this has a really specific mission called Operation 500 Million Souls for Christ. And they lay out 3 concrete ways you can get involved. You can be a prayer partner, a volunteer missionary who actually serves on the ground, or what they call a kingdom investor, someone who supports the whole mission financially. And the scope of this thing is truly global. I mean, this is not just some local operation. Just look at this table of coordinated prayer times. It shows a network that spans continents and time zones, all the way from Nigeria to the USA to the Philippines, uniting a whole worldwide community in this effort. And of course, in today's world, that kind of global coordination happens online. So the organization uses the whole range of modern platforms. We're talking WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, even TikTok and YouTube, to keep its community connected and engaged around the clock. So we've walked through this really clear and powerful formula. One singular focus in exchange for a total reward, the jackpot of life. It's a compelling proposition for sure, but it leaves us with a final, pretty challenging question. In a world that is constantly pulling our attention in a million different directions, what does a singular focus even look like anymore? And what would you be willing to trade for that kind of jackpot?